All right, Unit 3, Lesson 1 is where we are on now. Made it all the way through Lesson 2. We're in Unit 3, Lesson 1. We talked about identifying slope from a table, graph, and equation, or table, graph. And now we're going to look at identifying slope and the y-intercept of an equation in slope-intercept form, looking at the actual equation. And we're also going to talk about determining if a graph, table, or equation is proportional or non-proportional. There'll be two parts to this video. Let's get going. Identifying the slope and the y-intercept. First, we need to know what is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is a point on a line. It's the y-coordinate of that point where the line crosses the y-axis. Okay. We have a graph, and we have a line that goes on that, the point where it crosses the y-axis. We can use that y-intercept to help create an equation in what's called slope-intercept form. And that we sometimes abbreviate as SIF, slope-intercept form. And that equation looks like this: y equals mx plus b. M, if you recall from our last unit, is slope, and b is the y-intercept. We abbreviate sometimes that as INT. Okay, slope is m, always attached to that x. That means m times x, and b is your y-intercept. Sometimes we'll have a minus b, which means negative. Sometimes we have a positive, which is plus. So you want to state the slope and the y-intercept on the following equations using y equals mx plus b. And this is one of those equations where we have a minus instead of a plus. Okay, so we want to find out the slope and the y-intercept. If you look how it lines up, our slope is 2/3. And our y-intercept, not plus 4, it's actually minus 4, which is a -4. And that could be written as y equals 2/3 x plus, and then we would put -4, but we avoid double signs, plus, minus, and we just write it as minus. That's all it is. We're identifying the slope and the y-intercept. Again, what's my slope? What's my y-intercept? Slope, right above it, is 1/4. My y-intercept, right above then, this is a positive number this time, so it's 6. Okay. Keep going. Try to figure this one out before I do it. Pause the video. What is your slope? What is your y-intercept? So it's a little confusing because we have a negative x. Well, that can be written as -1x plus 5. So our slope ends up being -1. Remember, there's an invisible 1 right there. And our y-intercept is +5. And lastly, this one's a little bit more difficult because we don't have y equals mx plus b form. The y isn't by itself. We need to solve it. So we have 3x plus y equals -4. We need to use our solving two-step equations. In this case, it's only one step that we learned in Unit 1. To get rid of this 3x, you have to subtract. This is a positive 3x. You want to subtract it. We're left with y equals, and I'm going to flip these around. Can do that. Instead of -4 or -4 minus 3x, I'm going to do -3x minus 4. And now you have y equals mx plus b. Excuse me. M, right next to the x, is -3. Y at the end is -4. And that's how we identify our slope and our y-intercept from an equation. It's part 1 of the video. Go back to part 2 and finish off our lesson. If you have any questions, reach out. I'd love to hear from you.